we are live. So this is the spot in between the actual live show and the live stream where we're figuring out whether it's working. So as we're testing this in the background, please let us know if this is working. It is, oh my lordy, it's October 24th at 11 o'clock ish on Tuesdays when we do the Tattoo Weekly. And we've actually been doing it weekly. It's crazy. Um, I'm Gabe Ripley, and I'm joined with Fawn and our guest Maddie today. And we're going to be chatting tattoo news, tattoo events, and yeah, showcasing some new tattoo portfolios and whatnot, and old ones even. Okay, so as I was saying, let us know if this is working in the comments, so we know these live streams are working. And I'm going to start the official thing. I think you could actually chat in the chat rooms, and then we could blast your chats on the screen, and then you could see yourself on the screen. It's crazy. Okay. Um, Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo Network, where tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious are all encouraged to join into these live streams, to meet us at real world events, to share with each other, inspire each other, and ultimately create better art and tattoos together. We're beaming out 4 days a week, and with your help, have evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on demand tattoo shows. You can find Reinventing in all of these fine places. Either of the app stores, search for Reinventing the Tattoo in either Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. YouTube is the Reinventing the Tattoo channel. Roku is Reinventing the Tattoo again. It's got 12 to 15 channels going at any given time, 24/7, including the Drunk Critique channel, which is just drunk critique all the time. It's crazy. It's horrible. You could find the podcast versions of these on any of the podcast stores or directories, Apple or Spotify. If you're watching on, or if you're listening on any of the podcasts and you're wondering what we're talking about, if we're talking about looking at things, it's also a video. So you just have to like download the video or imagine in your head what's going on. Okay, no matter where you're beaming in from or watching the replays or the whatever's from, you can always find the latest and greatest about Reinventing the Tattoo at reinventingthetattoo.com. Everything except for the book or the binders, those you have to find on eBay and pay $1 million for. But even better, Guy's been updating the content with new videos. He's got an awesome new videographer, and so they're doing all of the right things with the pop-ups and the stop act, all the right things. So you're going to want to make sure that you're either part of the evolution class or getting the canon if you're a tattooer or an apprentice. Now, there's a free newsletter. All the courses are, they're for pay. You got to pay. Those are, so you take it for serious and for professional tattooers and apprentices. There's plenty of free content like this happening. If you go to the homepage of reinventingthetattoo.com, you'll see the full schedule. And I think that in lieu of rattling off more, I'm going to thank our sponsors real quick. WorldTattooEvents.com. It's the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. There's tons of conventions that are happening again, and Alex has been updating the website like crazy. Tattoo Now, I do technology for tattooers and for Reinventing the Tattoo. We have Fireside Tattoo Network, the Apprenticeship Diaries, a couple other podcast networks. Fawn is doing the Tattoo Collecting 101 every Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern, I believe. And yeah, no, is this working? I wonder if this thing's working. Oh, hey, look at that! We got viewers. If you're watching, let us know where you're beaming in from, and then yeah, that'll be great. So we have special guest Maddie here, and Fawn. Thank you for beaming in.
Yeah, great introduction, Gabe. It's getting shorter and shorter.
I knew that was going to happen. That's my tea. I'll be right back.
So today, I have my coworker Maddie with us. She's a fellow red tree artist. She's kind of like our resident new school kid. Is that okay to call you
Yeah,
that?
no, I love that.
The resident new school kid?
A teenage boy, basically.
Yeah. So once Gabe gets back, we'll start doing some screen shares a little bit further into the conversation and show you some of the stuff that Maddie's been working on. But here lately, Maddie has been on the road a lot. She's been traveling like almost as much as I have, I believe. She's been, well, I'll let you talk about where you've been traveling.
Cool. Thanks. So yeah, I've been, I think every time I'm on a trip, you're also on a trip. Um, I've always liked to travel around to different shops. I think it helps me stay on my toes and get different feedback about my art that I'm not going to get from just staying in the same spot. Um, but recently I've been going and visiting Chris Taylor at Ink Therapy in Plainfield, Indiana. And then I've been visiting with Jeff Bernard and everyone at Golden Yeti and Franklin, Tennessee quite a bit. I have plans to go visit in Inglewood here soon. I don't know how I just blanked on the name of that studio I'm going to. That's so rude of me.
That's what happens when we
It's
put
a
you on
brand
the
new
spot.
studio. It's a brand new studio in my defense. So, but yeah, it's going to be really fun. I love that I have clients from all over the place that I get to bounce around with and finish big pieces. And quite a few of them are coming to visit me here in Columbus too, which has been great. I just got back from visiting Chris Taylor though, and when you guest spot there, if there's anybody looking to guest spot, the two places that I had just named, for sure go visit them. The most accommodating guest spots I've ever been in. When I'm in Plainfield with Chris Taylor, I have my own little private booth space, but close enough to all the other artists around that you can hang out and talk and bounce ideas off of, and they're all very open to that. It's a very social shop, which is amazing. And you won't be bored. It's constant walk-ins. I usually have my clients from Indiana, but if I didn't bring any clients there, I would still be able to book the whole time. And you get to have a really awesome tattoo history themed Airbnb when you go visit, and he just throws that in. Yeah.
Talk about so Chris just recently bought what was old campground, and so there's multiple buildings on it.
Oh, yeah.
So I haven't gotten to see it yet. He's like walked me through on FaceTime, so I've like seen it that way. But I haven't had the chance to actually stay there yet. But I know he really put a lot of thought into like putting different tattoo artist themes in each room, or different like
Yeah.
styles of tattoo art in each room.
Yeah. There's a huge
Um,
watercolor where Schultz used to be in,
mhm.
and he had like put a whole bunch of like watercolor splatters all over the place and cool lettering, and there's a whole just traditional room that's really neat. So beautiful.
Yeah, I need to make it down there. My next road trip, I have to go through Indy, so I will be stopping to see Chris along the way. Just kind of like hanging out and visiting.
Yeah.
And then Chris Taylor, he is also the promoter of the Indie Tattoo Expo as well.
Which is
So
gonna go crazy this year.
he's joined us several times on the tattoo collecting show. He is I don't there are not many people in the industry that are more passionate than Chris Taylor. Do you agree
Oh
with
no.
that?
Oh yeah. I don't think there's a time that we sit down and talk, whether we're at his house hanging out with the chickens or whatever's we're doing, that he's not like swinging it back into how important tattoo history is and how important this industry is to him and his whole life. Like it's not just a job for him, which is really cool. I resonate a lot with that, where it just kind of becomes like a whole part of you because you love it so much. And that definitely is him for sure. That Airbnb, he has old, like a new school, like flash book that just looks like this really dope coloring book, and then he goes through and he has all these like old traditional books, and I mean a bunch of stuff from Rabbit, his mentor, all over the place. It's really beautiful, and it's you're out in the middle of nowhere at that uh, in his little guest spot place, the Airbnb, and you can also go on little hikes, and you can go to his. He has like this whole farm area where you can just go and
Yeah, I
pick
know
all
he
your own
had
stuff.
like a
Yeah,
garden,
yeah.
and like
He
he
had me over
got
there
into
picking
it.
up my own food. I can go get like eggs for the chickens, and it's so perfect.
So Chris is also one of those artists where he goes. Like
Yeah,
he is on the road too.
yeah,
I swear I can just be driving, minding my own business, and I'll look in my rearview mirror and I'll see that big shiny skull ring that he
yeah.
has. And I'll be like, is that Chris Taylor? Sure enough. It's funny because he's got a van that's it's the same color as mine, but it's more of like just a cargo van, but they like match. One time I didn't even know he had this vehicle, and we were on our way out to Hell City, Phoenix, a few years ago. And along the way we're like, well, we should we stopped in this little town in Missouri for the night, and then the next morning it was like we should find something to do before we get on the road because we're making pretty good time. So we're like, let's go check out this cave. So we go, it was like the Merrimack Caverns, I believe. Um, but we're like, let's go check this cave out. So we pull up some just random roadside place down a long and winding road, and I pull through the parking lot, and I see this van parked like off in the like under the shade trees at the edge of the parking lot. I was like, oh, they've got the right idea. So I pull up not in the spot next to it, but I leave a space in between us. And like as I'm parking, I look in my rear view mirror, like the side rear view mirror, and I see this dog coming up. I'm like, that looks like Chris Taylor's dog. And then I like look up and it's Chris Taylor. So like of all the random, and then we saw him again on the way back from Phoenix. He was behind us, and I've got the Hell City sticker on the back of my van. Like if you know what Hell City is, you'll see me rolling for sure.
Oh yeah.
But if you don't know what Hell City is, you'd be like, oh well, she's been to Michigan, that's fine, whatever.
She's been to Michigan.
But
He just got back from Tampa, I think. I think that's where he just was for a convention. Yeah.
mhm. I feel like that was a pretty rad show. I know Lauren went and she talked to a few people down there. It seems like I believe that's a Villain Arts event, and it seems like it was a wonderful show. So, have you been to any conventions or anything lately?
I think the last one that I went to was I'm trying to think of where I got my thigh tattooed. I think that was in Fort Wayne when I got my upper thigh tattooed. So that was my
Okay.
last convention I got to go to.
Okay.
hmm
What ones are you looking forward to?
Definitely. I always like going to Villain Arts just to go visit them. I got my tongue split at Villain Arts. It's a different kind of vibe.
Yeah.
It's a whole different kind of like buzz happening in there. Obviously Hell City and Hell City Phoenix. So excited. My first Hell City Phoenix. I
And
can't
then
wait.
Indie Tattoo
Indie
Expo
Tattoo
for
Expo.
sure.
Oh yeah, Indy's gonna go completely different this year. Just from
Nice.
hearing him talk about it. So I'm very
Yeah,
excited.
he and I had a phone call because it's going to be, I'm not going to
Say
I'm not
spilling
going to
beans.
spill any
Yeah,
beans,
no
but he's
beans.
got a new venue lined up, and it's going to be so
Unique.
wonderfully different than any
Yeah.
other show you've ever been to. And like being a part of the Hell City team and traveling with True Tubes, I see a lot of different shows. And like when you're working different shows, it's different than like just attending. You can kind of see the inner workings a little bit. Once you've been to enough shows, you can see like which ones are organized, which ones are chaotic, and which ones leave a lasting impression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Villain Arts shows are great, but if you've been to, let's say, 6 in a year, you lose track. Like for me, it's like, oh man, was that Chicago or was that Philly?
Right.
That was one of the really big ones, but was it which one?
Yeah.
So they all kind of start to blend together. And that's the cool thing about Villain Arts shows is you know what to expect.
You know what you're
And
getting
it's
into. Yeah.
you know what to expect. Everything is just boom, 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 easy, all the.
Yeah.
But there are other shows that either bring some different kind of entertainment to the table, or they just have a very unique vibe. And I think with some of the ideas that Chris has with this new venue that he's working with, I think it might be a game changer. I think this might be the thing that like other show promoters are like, oh man, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah. I think
perfect.
the crowd that this is going to bring is going to be completely different.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be huge. I think that no one's going to have trouble getting tattoos that weekend for sure.
Yeah, the Indie
belly
Tattoo
dancers
Expo.
that he had was I loved that. That was awesome.
I just saw that clip. I was going to say that the last few years of the Indie Tattoo Expo, it's kind of nice because it has it's a very laid back vibe, but it's very like classy as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't lend for the kind of atmosphere where you would think shenanigans would even be appropriate, if that makes sense.
The VIP section right at Indie Expo, did you go? You went in there, right?
I don't think so.
The VIP section, it was a speakeasy. It was hidden.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
I remember
so
behind
awesome.
the curtain.
Yes. And it was just like this little place. He's like, this is the place we go. And we like lifted up. I was like, this is wild. Like, what a cool experience.
And then, so Chris does another thing when he is like promoting and artists are signing up for the show is he's like sharing one artist. He'll tag the similar artists or other artists that are attending his show. And he calls that his soft introduction so that we can, like, if we're all working it, we can like see each other's names and we can like click on one another's names and check it out. He said sometimes people are like, why do you tag all these other artists in my stuff? He's like, because I want you to check out each other's work.
You should meet each other.
Yeah.
He actually
Yep.
just asked me about joining a traveling guest artist, or not a guest artist, but like a traveling convention circuit with some artists. He's like, I
Like
have
a
lots of
crew?
friends that want to do conventions, but we never have someone who wants to go. I'm like, I want to go to every convention.
Mhm.
So they just put me in the list, and I
I
think
feel
Hot
like
Dog and I
I
are
was
going to be
gonna say,
homies.
I feel like it would be a lot of you and Chris and Hot Dog.
I think me
Hot
and Hot Dog
Dog's
are going to be
awesome though.
roommates
Like
immediately.
he, first of all, he's always just a pleasure whenever I see
Yeah.
him. He's always happy. But one of the things that I love about him most, and this is like this within the first 3 minutes of meeting him, he's like an incredibly passionate father. Like he brings his kids along with him and they like know how to behave and everything. So there's nothing weird or wrong with having kids around.
Yeah,
But
their
like
kids are cool.
they're like he drags his kids along and they seem to love it and he loves having them around. So Hot Dog is really cool.
Yeah, that's
Um,
exciting. That's what Jeff does too. Talon goes everywhere with him.
mhm.
Jeff Bernard from Golden Yeti. He's like, Talon is like, he has more tattoo connections than I ever will have. Like, he's just been in the circuit doing this thing. It's so cute.
So just a couple weeks ago, Gabe and I did a completely different event together, and we've been doing the Jiminy Peak thing together for a few years now. Do you think you're going to go out next year to
Yeah,
Jiminy Peak? It's
absolutely.
going to
Any
be
convention that I have enough notice about, I'll just make it happen.
it's probably going to have an even crazier lineup of educators next year. But Gunnar came out. Who all? I've been smoking a lot today, Gabe. Who all? Who were some of the educators that came out? Renee
Oh,
came
geez.
out. Nick
Okay, so let's see.
Baxter.
Baxter, Andy Chambers, Renee Little, Thea Duskin. Uh, it was a ton. It was probably like 20 or 30 different events that were going on. Between the
Hmm.
stage and then all of the three different seminar rooms.
Yep.
And yeah, no. Cooper did one for 2 days where he was having people doing tattooing on like skateboards and different surfaces.
Oh, that's cool.
Um, and in order to get to control, like you were saying, Gunnar did a 3 days of oil painting, but people could drop in on any given day. Killian Moon did an awesome seminar. Chimu did one on spiritual tattooing. It was great. And of course Jake Meeks did a couple things from the stage, and
Hmm.
again, Tom Strom and Jackie Sandilands.
Yep.
They were there tattooing, and Jackie did her acrylic seminar. It was almost too much. It's practically overwhelming. I could practically not stop talking about it. But
It was such a cool
no,
event
we're
this
working
year.
on next year right away. We're able to roll it right into there was enough energy behind it that we've got the date settled, and we're working feverishly to get all the details going.
I'm going to
Whew.
drag as many of my coworkers as I can because I know Maddie's pumped on events like this, but I'd love to get like Maddie and then Jordan and his wife Emily, and
That'd
like
be a
I think it
great
would,
trip.
like if we all just went out together and got one of the big
Yeah.
suites, and if you have a whole group, like the hotel rooms are wonderful. They've got a little like kitchenette so you can get groceries and cook and stuff. But if we had like a whole crew rolling out with us,
Yeah.
I'm gonna
we'd have like a
I
whole
think two
condo.
more things. It'd be so fun. We could just get more people jazzed about going to different shows and stuff again because it's so fun.
So Brandon Sontag and Keith Miller, two of our coworkers, they are on board for many of the upcoming shows that we're doing, like that True Tattoo Supply is doing. So we're going to start having Red Tree booths again, I think.
That's so awesome. I love that.
So I'm pretty excited that they're getting excited to do events. This is
wondering if
Jiminy Peak. This
this is
mountain is
Jimmy
so
Peak.
beautiful.
I'm wondering if they have pictures of the condos, but you're reminding me that I don't even want to say it because we're on the air. But anybody that's watching this can snag them. But I'm like, oh man, I need to get the condo, the real condos from ourselves, for staff next year. And
Yeah.
there's some real nice condos in there, and I don't mind being far away. But I know there's a couple that have like the hot tubs in them. And I'm
Oh,
old enough. I need to soak my hips every day.
I'm saying
Yeah, there's
after sort
a
of tattooing, a hot tub is so important to
yeah.
me.
There was a massage therapist there this year that had a booth, and I think Gabe saw her every day. I saw her
I
two
did,
times.
yeah. Yep, and same at the High Lifestyle show 3 weeks before that. Was There was another masseuse there. Yeah, evidently I'm like this a lot,
Hmm.
so I need to do something
Hmm.
different for my back because otherwise, just doing this is not
Also, don't
I
forget about
walked.
your
It's either this
hips.
or I walk
Get
for
some
10
hip love.
miles. Yeah. I guess one of the main points though is that we've always done our best to bring a lot of healthy holistic types in, uh, and yeah, next year we'll have yoga every morning. I'm positive. There was like the week before, someone, I think Melissa, maybe somebody was like, "Can we do yoga every morning?" And I know that Canman's into the yoga, and yeah, we'll have to do a lot more stretchy, uh, healthy stuff. Not that there was like unhealthy stuff, but.
After starting yoga, I got so much taller. It was so good for me. I
Oh,
sit like a
you
little shrimp all the
decompressed.
time that there's certain poses like putting a block on your lower back, like right on that little bone right above your butt,
Hmm.
and you just like lay down completely flat and let it kind of fall off. Oh my goodness. You it feels like your whole hips
Hmm.
are in a different spot. It's been
So
super
while we're
helpful.
on the topic, the big silver yoga ball in the garage
Yes.
that nobody uses? Actually, that's
Yeah.
mine. And
Okay.
here's the purpose of it. Is I'm supposed to lay on it and I'm supposed to relax into a back bend and just let gravity help my back curve the other way. Because when we sit up, even if we're sitting with good posture, all of our inner core muscles are tight, but they're tight hunched over. So we need
Hmm.
that will like loosen all of your front core, just relaxing, just literally lay on it and
Sure.
relax and like just let that graceful curve the opposite way happen. And it just loosens things.
Yeah,
So I'm supposed
perfect.
to just like lay on it for 45 seconds or a minute when I'm sore.
I'll just sit
And
for like 5 minutes on that little block.
yeah,
It just is so nice.
like
Like then when you stand up, it almost feels weird because like you're actually where you're supposed to be.
yeah, I'll go from the yoga ball doing that like soft stretch to the traction straps where then I let gravity just
Those
pull my
stress
feet.
me out. I can't do those. I'm
Um,
not coordinated enough for it. I miss
I
our little inversion table that he
see, I'm afraid I'm gonna
sent.
get stuck upside down on the inversion table, so
Derb
I don't
finally
do
hooked it
that.
up perfectly for me one day, and then that was the day that he gave it away. Like he's like, "Look, this is how you do it," and then did it, and I flipped, and it felt so nice. And he's like, "Say bye."
That's one of the things I was told is to hang and or an inversion table.
So nice.
One of the things that I was there. I think it was Aaron maybe when Aaron Della Vedova beamed in talking about longevity. It was awesome. He's great because he was really thoughtful about his answers and what it means to have a long career and the different factors. But for the physical one, I think he was. It sounded like, and I was running around, but he's like, you can just cut to the chase and do yoga. That
Yeah.
helped. I haven't had a back problem since. And there's other things you could do. There's other ways to overcompensate and whatnot. But if yoga seems to be a comprehensive way to like stretch out
Yeah.
all of the things. And
And
I
it's a
feel
great
really,
workout.
I feel silly every morning. I wake up and I knock my dog out of bed, and I'm like, "Come on, let's get up." And then he stretches and he goes, "Rah," he does all of the things, and he makes sure like every muscle that he had in the night, gets a good stretch out. While I'm like, getting my tea together and shuffling around, wondering why my hip hurts.
I feel like I definitely can feel it now when I don't have them because I didn't have a yoga class while I was visiting this week in Indiana, and I could just feel my body just feeling grumped about it. Just starts to feel like I don't know, too hunched over. I can like tell now. But it definitely has helped me a lot. And like you said, that longevity in your career, I never really thought about any of that until I got to Red Tree. I was just so focused
Mhm.
on I want to tattoo so bad. I want to do all the things. I have all these big plans that I didn't think about like I have to make sure that I'm in a good spot to be able to tattoo as long as I want to. And I don't plan to retire early on at all. I'm gonna go until I can't anymore. So I had to make sure that my hands are being stretched properly. And if my hands are feeling weird, I wear weird little braces to go to bed, even though it's silly because I know that when I'm 60, I'm gonna really need it.
Sure.
Yeah,
You
and one
know,
of the things about being at Red Tree is you can't be in our studio and not be health aware. Like Derb takes
No.
more supplements and can tell you exactly what each one does, but he takes more supplements than anybody I know. It's absurd, but like he uses his body 120%
Right.
every single day. Like between like using his brain power throughout the day, managing business, making decisions, all of that very stressful stuff, and then he's incredibly active at night as well
Yeah.
through jujitsu training. So like he's got to be exhausted at the end of every day.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of the goal, though, right? Let's live every day to the fullest, so that We
But
can.
but in seeing how healthy he is and how much energy he has and how much he does have like every day to give, kind of lets us know that there has to be something to it. So
He goes and
that
gets
being,
IV infusions and stuff
yeah,
sometimes, like
that
just to make sure that he's hydrated properly and gets all his vitamins he
yeah.
needs.
That being said, like Red Tree is one of those teams where like if you join the team and you're not health minded, it doesn't take long for you to become health
Oh,
minded.
absolutely. Yeah.
Because like we've all gotten to the point where we take care of ourselves. I think I'm probably the least healthy one because I don't drink enough water, always dehydrated. But I feel like it's something that as well as like physical health and eating right and taking care of ourselves and stretching, I think happiness is also heavily focused on at Red
Mhm.
Tree too. Like we're pretty like mental health is, it maybe isn't necessarily something that's talked about every day, but
Right.
it's also one of those places where like we all know we have a safe place within each other.
Right.
So I think the combination of having Derb be so like hyper aware and always teaching us how to physically take care of our body, there's a really nice like almost nest at Red Tree
Right.
where like we're also very we're all, I mean, we all have our ups and downs and stuff, but for the most part I think we're all very like mentally
I
healthy
have
as
never
well.
been so secure and more comfortable in a job ever in my life than
Yeah.
working at Red Tree. When I got there, it was very apparent to me that the goal and the focus of the studio for the artists is not have them make as much money as possible. It's not have them, do anything other than make beautiful art and be comfortable in the studio. Everything in the studio is geared towards making us the most comfortable so we can do our job.
Hmm.
Down to, the way that we run anything in there. It's really nice. He has like a space specifically for us to rest. He has like a area for us to, take a little smoke break if we need
I
to,
think
for
that's
us
like the
to
therapy area,
everywhere.
really.
Yeah. I
Like,
mean, in his office, he has a bunch of different yoga things that we can use anytime we need to go in there. I mean,
mhm.
it's a different environment for sure. He just wants to see us all do a good job. He's not geared towards the money behind it for us. It's more of just like happiness and good art. And I think that changed the game for me. It's the first time I've been at a job where like I can't relate to going home and complaining about work because it's even a bad day in this studio is better than any day I've had in any other job. So,
It's kind of cool. Like you're, the newest member of the team, but to hear how like special you realize it is.
oh yeah.
Derb and I were having a conversation the other day about something completely unrelated, and you know, the summary of the conversation was like Red Tree is the kind of like it's the kind of studio that artists want to retire from.
Oh yeah.
It's one of those like once you've kind of like proven your character and your ability and your like desire to learn, like once you've kind of done that for yourself to the point where you catch Derb's attention and you get invited to be a part of the team, or you go through the interview process to be part of this team or whatever happens. It's like once you've gotten to that part in your career or your life or your ambitions, um, it's a heck of a privilege. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
It's a heck of a privilege. Um, Through working at Red Tree, I have so much more freedom than I had even running my own studio. Like
Studio.
when I
Yeah.
ran my own studio, I got to make all the decisions, but I always had to be there to like stay on top of things. And once I had artists working for me, then there's like the liability of making sure everything's cool and ethically
Yeah.
sound and all of those things, whether I'm there or not. And there's
Down
all
to
the
somebody
stress that
taking a
goes along
video of
with
your
it.
art while you go. You don't even have to do
Hmm.
that anymore. If you don't want a social media, really, you don't even have to because they have someone for that. They have someone for everything for
Yeah,
those
I
issues.
just reshare the videos
Yeah,
that Jazz takes or
it's
Jess.
amazing. Yeah. I just think it's very special to
It's
be in
like
that studio.
it's like we have the privilege of having it's I didn't mean to start like talking about Red Tree today, but
I'm
it's
always
kind of
ready to
cool
fan tell about
having
it.
like the privilege of the team and the like safety net of a team and a like artistic family and like a community, but we also have all the freedom in the world also. Like what are the odds of that anywhere else? To like
Very small.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like we were talking the other day about just me being at Red Tree and everything and thinking about how special the whole opportunity is for me. I'm very early on in my tattoo career, and to be able to be surrounded by artists that have been doing this for 15 plus years in some cases is pretty amazing. Like all the issues that you guys went through when you were first starting to tattoo, where you're like, oh man, I wonder why this is healing that way, or I wonder if it's the needle I'm using, and I can just go and access that knowledge in the studio. And to know that like Derb doesn't just hire anybody, he brings in people who specifically work well together and are supposed to be here. And that's super special.
Mhm. So the tour that Derb's giving us right now, Lauren and I were following him all through Red Tree as he was just kind of walking through the studio and giving like little kind of like history lessons along the way. Where we were looking at a lot of Marty's work, obviously. But so this was Reinventing Live a few years ago, and then I believe is it June-ish that we're talking about doing another one at Red Tree? Is that still
April, May. So yeah, Hell City's in May. So June. We even have dates. Yes.
sweet? So
Yeah.
there's going to be another Hell City live event, and I think this time we'll probably be able to have a lot more in-person attendees. This was like a hybrid event that we did where everything was kind of like Guy was beaming in, a few other presenters were beaming in because it was like fresh off of COVID and a blizzard.
And yeah, it was February. It was like completely snowy. Yeah, I was doing my expenses for last year recently, and I was like, oh, there was the uh, car bill.
Yep.
My car broke down like just within towing distance to the mechanic. It was amazing. Yeah, but yeah, no, this year it's going to be in sunny weather, right? May, June, June. I think we might be able to do something outside too.
Yeah, I thought June was the day we were talking about, but that was really cool. Bob Tyrell came, he tattooed at Red Tree. Renee Little started a back piece on Ananda at Red Tree. Jesse Smith was there. Man,
I know you guys said that Kelly had come at some point, and was that something that she had done at the studio, or was that at Hell City that she had done the
Hell City.
Hell City? Yeah.
Mhm. But man, it was such a cool experience to have like all of those people like and like I was sitting there like Bob Tyrell's tattooing at my station.
It was pretty
So,
crazy the other day. I
no,
was
so
at, oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say we do have Rember is who's the other anchor for the weekend in April, May, and June. So
Nice. That'll give him and Derb a chance to, ground wrestle,
Ground
toss
wrestling.
toss each other
ground
around.
karate,
Let's call it boy wrestling.
jujitsu.
Yeah, but
Every time they see one another, it never fails. Like like the hug turns into something, and before we know it, Jess and I are like picking up all the things that Derb's lost out of his pockets.
oh yeah, so this is when they're gonna walk in on the event, right? Is this is what's happening here? That's what you're saying.
Mhm.
That's awesome. I was at Indie Expo the other day, or not Indie Expo, but Ink Therapy the other day, and was talking to them about a couple artists. And it's really funny now the knowledge that I have about other artists that I just didn't have before too. When someone was like, they were describing Paul Booth, and they had just like described like a very not at all how I would have described him, and like it was like just a very like rough idea of Paul Booth. And I go, "Are you talking about Paul Booth?" And I was like, "How do I know that? Like that's wild! Like cool, cool, cool." I go through and I read all the things in the studio and then talk to Derb and like I just have this whole little log of things that I have now. It was pretty fun. It's crazy to see all the different people that have tattooed here or made art here that's just hanging up or
This is
Yeah,
Conan Lee and Sarah. Is it her name? Is her Sarah her name?
yeah, I think so. Okay. Oh, I don't. Ooh, yeah.
Tony Urbanic was there. Oh man, I'm trying to
hmm,
remember. There's so much.
Nick,
But Nick
Jesse.
Mitchell. Yep.
it's so sick.
You know the caricature of Derb in the bathroom, zombie Derb?
Yes.
That's Nick Mitchell.
Okay.
That's why we
For
had the stage
several
set.
years.
This was
Oh, go
great.
ahead.
I remember this.
There's a whole
What?
bathroom of just Derb pictures. And I texted Derb the other day and was like, are you trying to like Pavlov dog me? Like every time I see you now, like this is just weird.
So funny.
Oh, this was
Yeah,
fun.
that was a really good time. I had to go rescue Gabe. He broke down, saved him,
You
called in
know,
a
and
favor, got him towed.
I'm gonna get some. I started clearing out all my stuff, and I'm gonna get everything into actual totes this time. That was amazing. I'm like, oh no, I literally have like a car full of like not random computer parts, computer parts that are not in cases, and I think it was like just starting to rain. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe it was definitely not like weather conducive to like just lugging around a bunch of random computer shit in Ohio
It
around
was like
Flint.
freezing rain. It was really gross. But fortunately, I showed up in my full-size van to the rescue.
A full-size van.
Yeah, it's not a little
Yeah.
one.
Oh, that was amazing.
I just love when people are like, "Are you sure there's room?" Yeah, there's room. I can
Even
fit
Sure.
I can
even
fit four
Fandango.
kayaks inside this sucker and two more on top. Three if we're getting clever. Come on now. Yeah, it'll fit. With the doors shut, Maddie. With the doors shut even.
Prove it. Let's go kayaking.
All right.
Oh, there we go. So yeah, it'll be fun. We'll end up doing that again.
I'm really excited that's going to happen again. I wasn't sure if that was going to be something that would bounce around to other studios, but Red Tree's just so easy to like set up an educational event. We've got the space, we've got the different rooms, we've got the technology and equipment because we've got all the Hell City AV stuff. So between
Yeah.
what I have and between what Derb has for Hell City, like we can really make events happen. So it's kind of cool. This summer,
Yep.
I think there's going to be a EDM festival. I'm hearing
Yeah.
buzz that Adam France is working out with Watts Fest.
Yeah, that's gonna be really
Okay.
cool.
Yeah, so we've got an acre parking lot next to Red Tree also. It's like the employee parking, and that is a like we've hosted a few events out there and a few little festivals, so it'll be really cool to have like a full production in our side lot.
There'll be a
That's
silent disco in the back too, I'm hearing.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
pretty cool. Yeah.
I hope that 23 hours after it's legal to grow cannabis at home, we could have a home growers, meetup. The
Ooh, that
That'd be
would be
pretty
fun.
cool.
the moments, but not before, but the
Not
moment
before,
it's
never
legal.
before.
We have there's a couple of swaps that I've watched, where everyone brings 8/8 or whatever from their, because it's legal, keep it under the ounce, but they bring 8/8 and then they swap it with seven other growers, so everyone leaves with something different,
Yeah, that's cool.
and it's fun. But again, that outdoor spot there, it's a great spot. But until then, we just work patiently and the tattoos and the tattoo education and. Oh, you know what? I should fire up Rember's work because he's out of control. Let's see, Rember tattoos. Yeah, and we had an event that we were doing earlier, but it's got postponed. So we'll probably be a little bit business heavy, probably, but or no, it'll be everything. It's kind
That's
of anchored
beautiful.
in some business. But look at that. Yeah, he'll be tattooing. There'll
Wow.
be a lot of
Yeah,
oh
that's
man,
beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, look at.
I had to make it full screen. Maddie got sucked in.
I did, sorry. I was like, let me get in there. Wow.
Remember how back in the day, Rember kind of like pioneered the like color black and gray fusion, where he'd put like just certain elements of color into a beautifully rendered black and gray piece. Who knew that now we'd all be stuck doing blue eyes and cats for the rest of our lives?
He so thoughtful. His brain, is always going. It looks like this is a collaboration he was doing with Rowan.
Look at those
Oof.
mushrooms. Oh, so wonderful.
Yeah. So and again, part of the reason why these tattoos are as crisp and what they are is because of how thoughtful he is on all the different details. And obviously the work, his work speaks for itself. But like hearing him talk about how his tattoo shop, is working and works, with so many different artists. I think he's got sometimes upwards of 20 artists and like 5 to 10 apprentices at times, and to help support everything.
Hmm.
But it's great. He's really in tune with how everybody has different needs, and in some ways it's like, man, how do I get it. Everyone has different needs, but you got fucking 30 fucking people there who with different needs. Like, how do you keep track of all of it? Like, but and then he goes and trains and tattoos, and handles it all. It's crazy. He's definitely a has been a real inspiration for a while and continues to be so.
Maddie's lost in the sauce. I had to bounce back so you guys could see her like zoomed right into the screen.
It's
Yeah.
just so pretty. I love colors.
It's so easy to like know somebody's badass, but then like not, pay attention for a couple years, and then they're like, "You thought I was badass before. You haven't seen me in fucking." But yeah. So there we go.
And
So,
like to watch him work, he works so patiently and slowly, but he achieves super large amounts of work each time. He's somebody that you could just stand quietly and just watch him for like
whoa.
5 or 10 minutes at a time, and then circle back around. Like when you have the privilege to see him at a show working, like really watch over his shoulder for a few minutes. And he's incredibly thoughtful. He's never rushed. And when you see like those crisp, precise, deliberate movements, like with each stroke, progress is being made. Like no amount of that client's pain is being wasted. And I really love watching other artists who work in that manner.
I feel like Cam works like that. Watching Cam tattoo is another person where you can just kind of like lean over and kind of watch him. Just it looks like the skin hasn't even been touched yet. Like that doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, he's very soft about it.
Yeah.
There's a couple tattooers. It feels like they lightly brush it under the skin, and it stays. It's like, how the fuck's that work?
When you watch Guy work, it looks like he's lightly brushing it, but when you feel it, it doesn't feel like he's lightly brushing it. So I don't know what that means.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I don't know what that.
It still hurts.
So I felt
Even
my
if
foot
it's
with
gentle,
Adam. I
it
was like,
still
oh
hurts.
god, this is very very humane the way that you're taking care of my foot tattoo and in between my toes, but whew.
Well, I mean, it's almost inevitable when tattooers are working at a scale like this with clients that have to sit for 2 or 3 days. Like, if pain management isn't at the top of the list of things that you're trying to again be nuanced and improve upon with every client, Guy's always been pretty clear. He's like, look, if somebody taps out 4 hours into a 2-day tattoo, then I don't have a tattoo to do the next day or half it today.
Mhm.
And it's always well, again, it's just reassuring usually when tattooers take pain management, into consideration. It is what's best for the tattoo at the end of the day. And now, I mean, not that I want to slide into the anesthesia kind of,
Oh, we could talk about this.
I would love that. I mean, no, obviously, but like I want to feel pain. I just got my knuckles tattooed, so a little bit of me is like, maybe you could have just knocked her out.
It makes me so nervous, man. I just feel like I am passionate about my tattoos and I love them. And this is not even a pain thing. I'm not even going to be like, you need to earn your tattoos. Here's what I'm saying. Here's why I don't like the idea of
Yeah.
anesthesia tattoos is so, okay, let's pause for a second. Let's talk about any other procedure that is done under anesthesia. The most dangerous thing about the procedure is always the anesthesia. It's
Yeah.
incredibly hard on your heart, and the odds of not waking up when you're under anesthesia, like that's a Russian roulette that getting a
Well,
tattoo is not worth for
That's
me.
fair. Yeah.
they're
That
much
I
Technically,
like how many
yeah.
people go in for very simple procedures and they don't wake up from the anesthesia. So what I'm afraid this trend is going to keep growing until somebody dies. Like even with the best anesthesiologist in the room, even with all the waivers signed and everything, I'm afraid somebody's heart is going to stop and that's going to be it for it over a tattoo,
Yeah.
over something you wanted to have the rest of your life. Like you're going to risk,
Your life.
yeah, okay, all right. Like, do you think
it
I'm
is like,
extreme?
even if it's a one in a million, right? Even if it's 1 in a million,
But
eventually
it's
there'll be
not 1 in a million. It's one in the thousands.
Yeah.
You know, like how many people go in for like breast
BBLs right now?
augmentation and
Yeah.
don't wake up? How many people get
Yeah.
BBLs and don't wake up? Like,
That is very scary.
Michael Jackson didn't wake up.
yeah, it's really scary thing. And I think the way that, I mean,
Might be
it's
arguably
between
okay.
each client. I'm not saying people don't have a right to do it. I'm not
Right.
like, I just feel like it is
Personally, yeah.
not worth the health risk. If you are in pain, if you have something chronically wrong with you, if something is broken and needs fixed, go in like that.
Wonder for
Like
that, yeah.
if it's worth saving your life, okay, a small risk to maybe save your life. But if like you're perfectly healthy, why would you put your heart under that stress?
Right.
Why would you do that to yourself? Like, and I don't know, maybe these people don't really love themselves and they're taking pain pills and stuff afterwards, which I would imagine if you're getting put under, you're probably going to be on Percocet or something like that
Ever. Yeah.
afterwards. So
Yeah.
like let's just set aside the whole earning it through pain. Like
Right.
I
That sounds
do
sick.
think
Yeah.
that there's a rite of passage, but I want to look past that. I don't think it's safe.
Yeah. I feel like the closest thing that I would do, which I barely even use numbing cream as it is, like I get very sensitive spots done. I'm trying to get down to one full tattoo. And I understand while I've been tattooing, the older you get, the worse it feels. So I'm
Yeah.
about to get like my sensitive areas tattooed, like my genitals, my armpits, my full abdomen, things like that that are going to be pretty rough. I don't think that I could ever be like, I mean, part of the reason I like to get the tattoos is I like to watch how artists handle things, how they like to set up their like how they work it and see, some people work like a printer where it's all in one spot and they finish every area and work all the way up. There's always something to be learned from how you're being tattooed, even if you have to take a second and like cover your face and like reel it in, you could still feel what's going on. And how, that's how I learned it. Putting a lot of pressure on my clients is comforting sometimes. Like
Hmm.
being able to basically lay on them gives me a better stretch, makes them feel more secure. And now we're working. I wouldn't have known that if I was asleep getting my tattoos done. I do get upset when I hear people give the ick about like numbing creams or Bactine and things like that, because that's still an argument that people are having. And now we have a whole nother argument of like, can you be asleep? The argument I'm still hearing people complaining about people using numbing cream.
So I overdid it. You know, the Canada paste, the
Yes.
custom compound.
Yeah.
So, okay, one time I was on my way to an appointment with Russ and I stopped at like truck stop, did the shower thing. 'Cause sometimes I sleep in my car, shower at truck stops. So anyways, I apply it. I didn't know where Russ was working, or maybe I just knew he was working on the entire back, but I put it all over me, like all over my whole back. That was too much.
Too much. Yeah.
Yeah, that was like half. If I was just doing the upper half or the lower half of my back, I didn't seem to have this problem. But when I covered my whole back with it,
Do you get
my
palpitations and stuff?
I was gonna say my heart was
Yeah.
definitely like noticeably fluttery all day. Like I had to be mindful to move a little bit slower and things like that. So I myself, even being mindful and conscious of these things, I have overdone it on the local anesthesia.
Yeah.
So, and I knew what was going on. And it was just like, I just got to move a little slower today. Like,
But still, for
overdid it.
someone who doesn't know that and put it on, that'd be really scary, and not knowing that. And then on top of that, getting tattooed after that, that's another amp experience too that could have made people
Well,
feel
and
really
also now
uncomfortable.
I know to tell my clients, like, we're going to be working on the upper back. So if you want to
Right.
pre-numb, just pre-numb the upper back
Right.
or the lower back or whatever quadrant we're
That's
doing.
what
Because
I
I'm
always
not
like
going
to
to work
numb
the
you
whole
anyway.
area all at
Yeah.
once. I'm going to work a reasonable amount of time in the 2-hour window we
Right.
have. And then meantime, I can be numbing another area. So
Right.
it changed the way that I work with the topical stuff, like experimenting with it on myself. Now I know like how much is too much. Like,
Right. I've
I
seen people
also,
overdo it and their skin starts to get really mad, really swollen, like it looks
Mhm.
crazy. Even the tattoo I put on them just is really swollen, and I'm very gentle,
Yeah, all numbing compounds are
Yeah.
not created equal as
So certain
well.
ones are different. And then
Yep.
also how long you leave it on. That's why I had told my clients now, even though it's annoying and I have to sit, not annoying, but like we would rather get right in the sauce and start coloring on,
Mhm.
getting it going. But I'd rather sit and know how much time and how it was applied, how thick it was, if it was over, wrapped and too suffocated. I'd like to be in control of the skin from the point that you come in to get tattooed. I don't want you to do anything. I want to be completely in control of it so I know if anything happens, that was, I could be like, okay, well, that's problem solved, but I can't problem solve something that I wasn't a part of earlier in the day. I tell people just take your shower, no lotion, exfoliate before you come in and just nothing else. Exfoliate with your Dow soap. I don't want anything in your skin that could possibly cause an issue.
Yeah, I always add your most comfy clothes to that
Oh
as
yeah.
well.
Comfy
Comfy,
clothes and
feet
good
up.
snackies. Yeah. We're listening
But
to true crime. We're eating snacks. It's going to be a great day.
and so it's part of that experience, right? That you're gonna miss, right? When you knock someone out and you tattoo them. I mean, I guess it's fine for
Mhm.
the presuming that you're the one and you're gonna live, right? Or if you sign your waiver and often that class will also be able to get like the vitamin pushes, right? So yeah, sure, they might be doing whatever they want to, but then they can do a vitamin push, then they can get tattooed under anesthesia, and then they get the vitamin push afterwards, and they're freshen up their blood a little bit, and then they're on their way to the next rock show or whatever. But like I remember, there was a worldwide conference, I was moderating over in Europe or at one point, and I asked the people, what's your favorite part of tattooing? And they were all like the clients, and the clients that we're able to meet, and the creative ideas that they have, and the conversations, and they're usually smart people and highly functional or executive level, and part of that, like, that magic of the client interaction. I mean, I guess not every tattooer or every client is like that. Um, but on the other hand, like, you're going to miss all of that, and it's which I guess everyone has a right to, and I guess then the way that guy kind of explained it was, everyone could go out and buy a, or not everyone, right? But like, if you're going to go out and buy a, let's just say, use the car metaphor, you're going to go buy a Porsche, and the rich kid from Saudi Arabia could come in there and put it on the family dynasty, compared to somebody who's earning it and working at it and tattooing or whatever, for 10 years to be able to afford to get the credit to be able to get the car. Same car, different value to the different
Hmm.
people, and, only because of the way that they're coming at it, right? And again, the rich kids can earn it too, right? I'm not suggesting. Well,
Right.
I'll keep my prejudices to myself in this case, but it's not the example doesn't make a difference for the example. But anyways, I guess so as far as anesthetics, right? Like, anybody can do it. You can pay for it. You can get a back piece in a day. But you're going to miss out on a lot of that magic, and
Right.
all the interaction, and it's just going to mean something different to you. And it is also a little bit hard for me to think that the pain and the nerves don't catch up to you, right? Like, again,
I
to your
mean,
point,
you've
like,
got to wake up feeling like you got hit by a bus.
whew, but
But like I said, I think the people that would do this kind of risky behavior are probably taking other medications after the fact, where for me, that's not an option. I can't, like, I'm like allergic to any kind of like opioid or anything like that. So like ibuprofen is my option. Like I can
Yeah.
take Advil, Motrin, that's it.
I'm gonna be honest too, now that I like even just the numbing cream, because I can't speak towards like getting put out for tattoos, but even the like the spaces that I have used numbing cream on, I know the relief that it gives me. And I know it kind of takes that edge off and it's more of like I'm stressed out. I don't want to feel the initial in my skin and then I start to get used to it and then I'm into it. I feel like now, I mean, I got my knuckles done with no numbing cream, no Bactine, nothing. I got my, the other areas. I feel like that numb that kicks in your skin, the natural one where it's like, oh, okay, it's actually everything just kind of feels numb right now. That
Yeah.
doesn't really happen for me when I've used the numbing cream. It starts to burn a little
So
bit.
with my clients, I try to either, and Zensa is what I
I
usually
like
use now.
Zenso. Yeah.
So um usually there's a pep talk that comes along with it, and it's like, okay, this is just going to kind of like ease us in, like this
Hmm.
is just gonna, like, this is only going to last for so long, and then once we get there, then I'm going to have Bactine. I should have
Right.
enough skin open that the Bactine should be really helpful. The exceptions are like, all right, you've toughed it out for this whole sleeve, but we're going to go ahead and Zensa your wrists, so we're
Right.
going to just let this soak for a little bit, and then we're going to knock that area out in about 25 minutes.
Right.
Like if I can help my client work through naturally without any prenum, and I
Hmm.
just save it for the spiciest areas, not all, but just the spiciest spots.
Right.
I feel like it's really beneficial that way, and it's like, armpits, sternum area,
Mhm.
like the solar plexus area. It's
I am going to
horrible.
use numbing cream probably for my my pelvis area and everything. So I think that's going to be pretty uncomfortable, like more like the creases.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think I'm just going to try to rock it. It's like you said, putting it in the sensitive areas is way better for me, I think, than fully submerging it. I do like to offer it to my clients though, like especially if my client comes to me and says, "Hey, I'm really nervous and I would like numbing cream." It doesn't hurt me to put the numbing cream on you, and I'd rather you be the most comfortable during the process. And
It's
people are like,
funny.
"You got to earn it." Like,
Gabe's got the video of me and
it's so
Guy
good.
working on Lauren here.
Oh, thank
One
you.
of
when
the
you're
one
putting
of
in
the
the
things.
white, I'm like, I want it right then. That white part, do it then. Put the numbing cream on then, please.
Yeah.
Well, so Guy and I both work with Bactine very similarly. So he puts it in a spray bottle. I put it in a dip cup. So I'll like dip my fingers in and then smear it all over. I'll dip my paper towel in and smear it all over. He actually has a squeeze bottle of Bactine. So there'd be times that we would be like cleansing or wiping together and be like, "Can you give me a little spray over here?" And I'd like work it in, and we've started, I've stole the tricks from Guy, to be honest,
Uh-huh.
but the like working the back teen in with my glove instead of pushing it in with the paper towel. Because what I would do is I would just like lay the paper towel on and just apply a little bit of pressure for a couple of seconds, and then I would tattoo into it. But Guy just kind of moves it around with his gloves, and it like breaks up the dried tattooing
That's what I do
without
too.
breaking up the
Yeah.
stencil. And then just one wipe instead of the repetitive wipes. I was like, oh,
I always
noted.
rub mine in. I feel like it helps kind of
Mhm.
like get it a little more in
Blow
there.
on it a little bit.
Yeah, I started doing that because of you. I started just getting a little blow.
I mean, it's a trick from when we were 4 years old. If it worked then, why wouldn't it work now?
Right.
Just blow on it. It'll feel better.
Like when someone's really burning like their elbow, I'm like getting full
You just-
saturation on the elbow, just a little. You're doing great, sweetie.
So during COVID, when we still had to wear masks to work, I had clients that were like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm wearing a mask or what, but it just seems like the whole session hurts more now. I was like, oh, it's because I'm not blowing on you. Like I just do it without thinking. I just like softly, like as I cleanse, I'll just softly blow on my client and then I wipe it away so it cools, it kind of cancels out that burn from the Bactine or the holy water, whatever it is, right away.
Speaking of like the pain where like one thing hurt a little bit more than the other one, I had a late night conversation with Marty recently, and he was like, "Well, you know that the left side always hurts more because your right side is more developed and it controls your left side's brain or your left side's pain receptors." And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I guess so." That made like my brain was like like
Blew your
nighttime
mind.
Marty conversations. Yeah.
Oh, that's not the right Marty.
Nope.
What is this?
That's a different Marty. Well, Marty Holcomb, one of the Red Tree artists. He's wonderful. He's a wizard. I was working on a client who had I believe he was a client of Derb's way back. It was his first tattoo in 20 years. So Derb sent him my way, but he knew who Marty was. And he was
Yeah.
like, oh, it's going to be so cool to see Marty. He's like, I wonder what he looks like now. I was like, I first of all, Marty looks the same as he has since 1997, I'm pretty sure. And second of all, like
He'll
I
be here
don't
at 9
think
p.m.
people in his family age. You'll see him at 7:30. He'll be in more than likely. Like he's usually in at least 5 nights a week, if not 6.
I usually work pretty late, so I get a lot of one-on-one time with Marty, which has been pretty cool.
Mhm.
And I hung out with a client of his the other day and just kept him company until he got there. When I went up to visit, she was like, "You smile a lot, don't you?" And Marty's like, "Yeah, me too. People always think I'm up to something, but I'm just happy to be here." And it was just the coolest, like, I don't know, it was just like such a great motto to live by. It's like, yeah, I'm just happy to be here. I'm
If
always
you
smiling.
jump to the Red Tree Instagram, Gabe, you'll probably see one of Marty's posts within the first
This
4
is
or
him now.
5.
This is him here, right?
No, that
No.
is not him.
This is not him?
That is another Marty Holcomb.
Looks like him.
Maybe you're still screen sharing the wrong thing.
Oh,
Is your
looks
screen
like I
share
am.
paused?
Okay, I was like, that's
Yeah.
still not.
I'm like, it look exactly like he looks like to me.
There we
There
go. That's the right
I'm
one.
like showing off his work, and I'm like, I got it.
They're like, I'm showing it up.
I'm the guy on the
Yeah, and
fly.
he cares a lot about your like the way he works with people. He's like, all right, here we're gonna work from this to this to make it more comfortable, get all the mean stuff out of the way. Like very similar to the way
He's
I
got a
do too.
lot of like large bodysuit clients that he's been working on for years and years as well. Like they jump in without hesitation to the spicy spots just because Marty's got like angel hands,
I want him to
hands
do
of the
my
wizard.
knee. I think that'd be fun.
He's been tattooing since 1972.
Amazing. 2 years since before I was born.
Like Dana Brunson, we see Dana everywhere. He
Uh-huh.
travels the world still. He really just enjoys his private, quiet home life. He takes walks through the park often. I believe he's vegetarian. He has a very healthy lifestyle. Just schedules one appointment at a time or one appointment a day, shows up at 7:30. Some days he's done by 10, other days he's at 4 o'clock in the morning, he's still working. So it's really cool to see somebody like Marty loving to come to work every day and still like passionate and still like tattooing new young people all the time as well.
Awesome.
Here's Dana, this guy.
Mhm.
He's
Oh,
wonderful.
I've seen him, I think.
Yeah, he's over in Cincinnati or Dayton. Is it Dayton? I can't remember. For some reason, my brain always lumps those two cities into one, even though they're not the same.
This must be Richmond.
Oh, I wish I could have gone. It looks like this was a tattoo history, like
Oh yeah.
treasure trove here.
That's cool.
Some of the
Yep.
pictures I've seen with these guys together.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see how the dates work next year. But yeah, this one was nuts.
Hmm
Uh,
Dana is a wonderful tattoo history collector. He's got so much just early tattoo technology. He's got old flash. If you ever have the chance to see Dana's shop, you got to check it out. It's like walking into a time capsule.
oh,
Is
bam.
this Indy? This looks like
No,
Indy
no,
from
no.
the
This is a
headset. I
Richmond.
can't
This is a
tell.
Richmond
Oh,
from
this is
last
still
weekend.
Richmond? Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I hit up Jesse a couple times. I'm like, you're killing it, I'm sure. Yeah.
Well, we're sitting right at noon right now, Gabe.
Oh, bam.
You
Okay.
think
Well,
we
there we
should
go.
wrap
That
up?
was that, huh? Boom.
Oh, there's Gil right at the end.
If you want to find out more, you'll have to go to the Dana Brunson's Instagram. Check out his coverage of the Richmond Tattoo Convention. Hey, we still have people watching, which is crazy. It's not that crazy.
Hi,
That's why we do it, I suppose.
I saw that Creature was in the chat room, but we kind of filled up the whole conversation with me and Maddie jibber jabbering back and forth. But hopefully next week we'll get a chance to get to Creature's question.
Oh yeah, if you have
Um,
questions for this one, just put them in the chat rooms. We can get them asked. This is I don't know if we have an open Zoom for the Mondays, but or Tuesdays. Today's Tuesday, right?
yep.
Oh shit,
Tuesdays is
we do have to wrap it up because the Reinventing the Tattoo meeting is next. And so speaking of reinventing, please subscribe to the Reinventing Network. And if you're a tattooer or an apprentice, then yeah, subscribe. Just throw in some bucks, and it's going towards reinventing and the crew and everybody here and to do this stuff. So yeah, reinventingthetattoo.com.
sweet. Thanks for watching. See you guys
Cheers.
next week.